Hi, I'm back. So, trying this again. I don't know why my phone is not cooperating with me today. I've been trying to go live for the past couple days and I'm getting like weird error messages. I just got like a couple minutes in and it like kicked me off. So anyway, if you didn't happen to see the last part, I wanted to come live and share a little bit about who I am, what I do, and why I do it. Long story short, I know some of you guys might know me from my other profile or from my business, but I do know that I have a lot of new people on here, and my intention is to start going live on my, I always want to call this a group, it's not, it's my personal profile, but I wanted to start going live on here a lot more often, but I figured that I should at least come and kind of introduce myself so you guys know who I am. So, if you haven't gathered by now, my name is Ashley. I am a military spouse, I am a stay-at-home mom, I have a 1-year-old, and I am also a business owner. And I work from home, which is awesome. So, most people don't know this about me, but if you don't know me from my childhood and my personal life, I am actually from Alaska. So I was born and raised in Alaska in a extremely small town. To me, it didn't seem small, but for most people, less than 5,000 people is a very small town. And I did not realize that that was weird or unique or different until I moved. Again, I was raised there. That was, that was my normal life until I left Alaska. And then people were like, wait, you're from Alaska? Really? Like, people actually live there? That's a thing? So, yes. Yes, I'm from Alaska. When I was about just shy of 18, I actually moved, though. I just kind of needed a change of pace. It was, again, Alaska is very sheltered from the rest of the world. So there was not a whole lot of opportunities in my town. It wasn't like it's a great place to be, it's a great tourist place, but as far as like being a new young adult fresh out of high school, like there's not a whole lot of opportunities and I just kind of needed a change of pace. So I ended up moving out of Alaska when I was like just shy of 18. And a while later I ended up meeting my husband, who is active duty. He's in the military. So pretty much immediately after we got married, we were stationed in Japan. So we actually lived overseas in Japan for almost 7 years. I think it was about 6.5 years by the time we moved. And that's like been my entire adult life, to be honest. It's been our entire marriage. We've been dealing with the whole deployments in the military life, and living in a foreign country. Like, we always joke, we just moved back to the States in October. We just got stationed in Tennessee, and this is the first time we've been adults in America, and it's so different. We're not used to it. It's very weird. So yeah, so we lived overseas in Japan for pretty much our entire young adult lives. And we were dealing with, deployments. My husband deployed every 6 months out of the year, so he was gone for half of the year, every single year on a schedule, so at least we had a schedule, but, it was still just a very different lifestyle from what people are used to living. Because we were overseas, we were not tourists there. We were under a military visa, so we did live there permanently as residents. However, there were still rules, I could not go, I had very limited options as to where I could work, where I could go to school, all that kind of stuff. And secondly, I don't speak Japanese, I learned the very basics, enough to get by. I had a lot of friends who spoke Japanese, and one of my jobs I actually worked with Japanese, so I got very good at understanding Japanese and speaking back to them in English, but not nearly enough to be able to go out and actually work a job in a Japanese-speaking environment, right? And I don't think I was able to under my visa anyway. So, although Japan was an amazing experience, it was kind of like, we loved it there, and we ended up staying there for 2 tours, which is why we were there for so long. But I kind of just felt like I was just tagging along with my husband, you know what I mean? Besides the vacation aspect, or just the travel aspect, I couldn't really do a whole lot with my own life. I got some dinky jobs because, again, if you're a military spouse, you know the struggle of, you move every couple of years, and my life is centered around my husband's career. So it's very hard for me to establish myself in a good career, you know what I mean? And I know a lot of people who do that as military spouses, but you have to start over every few years every time you move. So I had a waitressing job. I was making banging money, but I was also working 50 plus hours a week. So it was good money. I was making more than my husband did active duty. However, it was extremely physically, mentally, emotionally draining. A lot, I never got to see my husband. I was kind of working completely opposite shifts as him. So I was there for a couple years when we first got there. And I just kind of, at some point, I kind of decided I was over it once we were about to re-up and pick orders. We didn't know we were going to get stationed in Japan again and ended up not actually going anywhere. So I left that job, wasn't for me. I get burnt out at those kind of jobs like so easily, and I've always been like that. So I did go to college. I have a fancy degree that does absolutely nothing for me and just sits, not even on a shelf. My degree's in my closet. So I did go to school to, my actual degree is I am a registered health information technologist, health information technology. And the reason I went for that is I've always been really into, like healthcare, the body, science, all that kind of stuff. And my aspiration for going through that field was to actually be in medical billing and coding, specifically medical coding. I am a detail-oriented person. I'm like the most stereotypical Virgo you'll ever meet. So that was just kind of a perfect fit for me. And to be honest, a lot of the appeal of that career path was because I would be able to kind of work at a desk by myself and everybody leave me alone. Like, that sounds really weird, but I've always been a very introverted person. Like, I like to focus, like to get stuff done. Retail has not been necessarily the best job for me, but funny enough, I kind of like do retail now, which is a huge laugh for everybody that used to hear me always say I don't like retail. So yeah, I have a college degree. The appeal was that eventually medical billing and coding will allow me to work from home, and I decided to not pursue that. I am registered in that. I do have the degree. I have the certifications to practice. It no longer appeals to me. So I just have a degree that's sitting around. I had also worked in retail before we had left, and I just realized those types of jobs are just not for me. They really weren't. And I didn't really understand why until very recently. I would get a job, I was always very excited for it, but I'm somebody who wants something different every day. And funny enough, I actually just am almost finished going through the desire map process, if any of you guys know about that, of determining your core desired feelings to kind of better plan your life and better goal set. And mine are freedom and connectedness. And I realized that one of my big issues is I have a lot of, I say anxiety loosely because I don't have actual anxiety, but I have a lot of, I guess really anxiety around time-centered things. I don't like being on a set schedule. I didn't like the aspect of somebody else planning my work schedule and I needed to commit at a certain time regardless of whether I wanted to or not. So obviously working from home really appealed to me. And I worked in that job not necessarily because we needed the money, I just needed something to do. My husband would deploy and I had so much time just being alone. And it sounds really depressing, but again, I'm a homebody. I wasn't really one to go out and go, I had a lot of friends, all that kind of stuff. We would go out and do stuff, but I just kind of like sitting at home. But when my husband was deployed, I was just sitting in silence forever, and I needed something. So I did work a retail job. I was very good at that job. I learned a lot. It really pushed me out of my comfort zone a lot, which I attribute to being able to do my current business. But long story short, I ended up getting pregnant. And I was, I can't even tell you how excited I was to have an out for that job. Because I never wanted to quit. That's not my, that's not my energy. That's not who I am. But, I was really excited to have an excuse to not go back to work. So, I got pregnant. I worked up until, I was 7 or 8 months pregnant. And then I dipped. I was bye. Are you going to come back? No, I'm not. Please no. I have an actual excuse to not go work a 9-to-5 job anymore. To not go work in retail, And even more so, which is not my personality type, I was a supervisor in customer service for retail. Meaning I was dealing with irate people and I was the person who, and it was a lot of good personal development for me because I don't like conflict. I don't like that kind of stuff. So I love that job. I really do. I love the coworkers, but I was excited to not have to do it anymore. So I still am a stay-at-home mom and that was great, but I fell into what I think a lot of, stay-at-home moms fall into. And that's, I kind of lost myself in being a housewife and being a mom, Again, my husband deployed when my son was just barely 4 months old. So not only was I, my first kid raising by myself, I was in straight up survival mode of napping 2 times a day when the baby naps because I don't know what else to do with myself, trying to actually make sure I remember to eat during the day. I was kind of a mess. And the days started bleeding together and, I didn't really have anything for me anymore. Especially because of the fact that we were living in Japan. I couldn't go get a career. I couldn't really do much for myself because we were about to move, you know, like just all of that tied in. And I kind of like, I needed a sense of purpose. I needed something for me again. You know, and I think a lot of people go through that. So I had kind of started going, or before I had even gotten pregnant, I had just been deep diving on the internet because I love, hi Haley, just deep diving on the internet, like watching crazy YouTube videos. And I don't think I've ever actually shared this story before. I was watching YouTube videos about people, like paranormal experiences and all of that kind of stuff. And somehow that led me to the whole spiritual development, personal development realm, metaphysical kind of stuff. And I got really into it. It was very interesting. I'm not going to go too much into my whole like personal intuitive story or anything like that, because that's a whole separate video. But long story short, I was a huge skeptic, but it's always really fascinated me. Again, I'm a very science person, you know, especially because I was in the healthcare field, but I really like the like mind melting metaphysical stuff, you know, where like it just is blowing my mind thinking about things that I can't even comprehend. I love it. So I got into meditating and, you know, working on my intuition and doing all of this stuff. But it kind of took a backseat when I had a baby, you know. Even before then, I was working and I don't remember why. I just kind of fell off the bandwagon with it a little bit. And I didn't pick it up until, you know, my son was maybe a couple months old, my husband was deployed. I didn't really know what to do with myself. And funny enough, I was going to say in this video that I didn't just wake up one day and decide to be, you know, a business owner. But the funny thing is I actually kind of did. You know, the short and simple reason why I decided to pursue this crazy like online business and all the things that I'm doing is because I quite literally woke up one day and I had this overwhelming feeling that there was something that I was supposed to be doing that like was just going to be explosive. And it was, the only problem was like I could not figure out what that freaking thing was to save my life. Like, I am claircognizant, clairsentient, if you guys are in that realm and know what that is. So I do get, like, random insight downloads when I sleep. And I very often wake up with these, like, light bulb moments of, oh my gosh, guess what I thought about when I was sleeping last night? My husband thinks I'm nuts. I don't blame him. But this was one of those times. I just woke up, and I was like, there's this thing that I'm supposed to be doing, and it's going to be amazing. And I need to do it now. But I don't know what it is. And I spent literally over a year trying to figure it out, and it, like... it was so frustrating, and that's actually kind of when I got into the whole spiritual, you know, some of the Facebook groups that I know I found a lot of you guys in, because I was just trying to figure out, like, what is this thing that is apparently I need to be doing yesterday that is going to be, like, fulfilling for my soul, achieving my life purpose, or at least, like, getting me on that track, you know. I knew it was going to be helping other people, creative outlet for me. I knew it had something to do with being online and doing like video, but I wasn't really sure what. And like I said, I spent so long trying to figure out what it was, and I just couldn't, like it wouldn't come to me. And I went through so many different ideas. It always kind of like thinking back on it, it makes me seem like I was just skipping around like trying to make any business work, but I was like trying to kickstart the process because I was like, all right, if this isn't going to come to me intuitively, like I'm going to force it out. I'm going to like start, I don't know, create a blog and do this and do that and just kind of figure out what it is from there. And I did. Like, I had so many different ideas and, you know, they just never really panned out. They weren't for me. So I'd actually, funny enough, I had eventually discovered that it didn't really matter what I was doing, but whatever I was going to do, my kind of mission and the thing that I was meant to be doing was sharing and educating all of the like random knowledge that I have, essentially, and also helping other intuitives and other business owners and other you know, people that are kind of in tune with that weird metaphysical side. I was supposed to be doing something in that realm, and at the time, like, I had never talked to anybody, even my own husband. Like, you know, he has his own spiritual beliefs, and that's fine. We have different beliefs, but we're both very supportive of each other. But even he's not one who really likes to dive in and like, let's talk about this kind of stuff, you know what I mean? So like nobody really knew any of the personal development stuff that I was doing, any of the spiritual work, working with my spirit guides and like manifesting and all this stuff. So I finally got to a place where we moved to the States in October. Sorry, this is a very long-winded video. Can you see I'm chatting today? So we just moved to the States in October, and this has been in the works for over a year, but we were living in Japan, and because we were under military visas, there was a very strict process for me to work from home. So I knew that I needed to wait until we moved because, I didn't want to do all that process and then end up just it kind of being a waste in us moving anyway. So I was doing so much research and, just tons of research, tons of planning, tons of, getting the ideas rolling as much as I could do without physically starting my business until we moved. So, and in that time, I went back and forth because I had never done this before, this is very new, and at the time, super out of my comfort zone. To just even come out and say, hey, I'm starting a business, straight up was gonna throw up when I, posted that. It's oh my god, people are gonna think I'm insane. Yeah, it's gone over really well, but, so funny enough, my initial business was, again, I just wanted to start, so I was you know what, I really like crystals, I really like healing jewelry and essential oils and all that kind of stuff, so I kind of started my business doing, jewelry. I'm actually wearing it right now. I didn't realize that I made this for my own shop and it ended up being intuitively made for me. Anyway, but I make crystal malas and diffuser jewelry, all this kind of fun stuff, which I love. That's not really my main passion hobby, right? It's just my creative outlet. It's something that I enjoy doing when I have downtime. But it was funny because that was a little bit of a front for having to come out and say, well, I'm actually doing this for all the spiritual reasons, you know what I mean? It was really weird to come out and say, well, I actually want to coach people on manifestation and all of this other stuff that people had never heard of, and share my journey with working with my spirit guides and, intuitive readings and all this other kind of stuff that I'm into. But eventually I kind of got forced into having to go into that realm anyway, because, all of that stuff got shut down real quick. I ended up having a lot of blocks because I wasn't speaking my truth because I was just scared of what people thought. Anyway, so long story short, I now work from home. So I'm still, to be completely honest, my business is ever evolving. I have so many different things that I like to do, that I'm passionate about, that I love sharing about. But my main focus right now is manifestation. I don't even really like to call myself a manifestation coach because I don't actually have any coaching packages created. I'm working on some online courses and trying to pull that together. But what I really like doing is helping people manifest, and working through mindset and intention setting, goal setting, all of that kind of stuff. And again, manifestation and law of attraction work is really what I like focusing on. And in addition to that, I also am in a network marketing company for essential oils. And the funny thing is I didn't even know how that tied in when I first started. I just knew, from the second that I kind of had this idea of, I want to have my own business, I'm supposed to do this in some way. I already kind of knew that essential oils was going to be a part of that. Which, I guess that's just, divine intervention. But I thought that was kind of funny. So I'm now kind of branching into, I've been in this business for a couple months, but I've been kind of scoping out, what I want to do, how I want to do things, making sure that I'm not just getting overwhelmed in the nitty gritty work and actually doing things that are in alignment for me, you know what I mean? So my current focus is essential oils and manifesting and kind of wrapping that all in together. And what I'm diving into a lot right now is using essential oils in different ways. I know everybody has seen the 1,000,001 ways that you can use essential oils for cleaning and making your house smell good and, all of that normal stuff, right? But I've been really diving into the more metaphysical side. So working with vibrational frequency of the oils and how they actually work from a science standpoint. Integrating negative emotions and changing your mindset, using essential oils to actually help you manifest. Using essential oils and all these different spiritual practices and meditation, chakra healing, that whole other realm, as well as, helping business owners, because I honestly think that everybody who is a business owner should be using essential oils. Everybody who's a business owner needs essential oils for, a multitude of reasons. And especially all the people who are in that spiritual, I know a lot of people that I connect with are spiritual coaches or energy healers or things like that, or Reiki, all that whole realm. And essential oils really plays into all of that as well. So that's kind of been, my main focus is really just chatting about manifestation and essential oils and all the you know, again, the metaphysical mind melting side and the crystal healing and the emotional healing. Yeah, even some little EFT tapping. I'm kind of looking into that as well. Vibrational frequencies of everything. The power of mindset. You know, all of that stuff is so fascinating for me. So anyway, that is who I am. That is kind of what I'm doing here. Just as a quick heads up, I'm actually going to be doing live videos here fairly often, just kind of sharing. Because this is my personal page, though, I plan to keep things very separate as I did originally, you know. I don't really find a need to name drop the companies that I work with or push a certain brand on people, you know. Again, because this is my personal profile. I'm not here to sell. I'm here to educate, and I'm here to share, and I'm here to, you know, I don't want to say network because that sounds like salesy, but, you know, I'm here to, like, meet new people and interact with everybody, you know, check out what everybody's doing. So I do have other groups for that. So if at any point somebody's like, why isn't she talking about, like, what brand of oils she likes or whatever, you can absolutely message me. It's just my personal decision that I don't feel the need to share any type of links or any type of, like, company information because, to be honest, my company isn't my brand. I am my brand. You know what I mean? It's me, not necessarily the name of the products I'm using. So that's a whole nother topic. So anyway, let me know who you are and where you're from. I'm really interested, like, even just kind of scrolling through some of the friends that I've made. There's people, like, everywhere. Funny enough, I have a ton of people on this Facebook that are from either Canada or Australia. So it's interesting. So if you are on here live or if you're catching the replay, say hi. Let me know where you're from. And I will talk to you guys later. Bye.